Friday night kicked off with Balwyn Friendship. Always going to be a decent game. Maybe a little less futsal and a little more physicality and drama going into it. But
drama is the right word.
It went like way above what anyone was expecting. Did you manage? Yeah, you were commentating.
Yeah, I was commentating. Phenomenal. Obviously, for those of you that don't know, Balwyn were up 6-1.
6-1, yeah.
5 goals and 7-3.
Yeah.
The turning point for me in the game was obviously when
Billy Attic
subbed off. Yeah, so for me, I have a rule in terms of when I play. I'll never sub keepers unless we're six goals up. That's for me. I've never seen a team lose from 6 goals up.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So that's how I view it. And they made that call early in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a half time? I think it was early second half.
It might have been. Yeah, it was one of the two. I can't remember.
And the keeper Impala copped a couple early ones, and then they brought back Billy, who was cold, who was he had his eye in earlier, was out of focus.
Yeah. He was good in the first half, but that's what happens, man. You can't, as a keeper, you can't be
terrible decision. Whoever's decision it was, I don't know if it was Chuck's or if it was Billy's, whoever's decision it was a terrible decision. They threw away 3 points. That's as brutal as it sounds. You got to be straight.
Yeah.
That's going to cost them at the end of the season.
Yeah.
If they end up in relegation by 3 points by a game, they're going to look back on that and say, "Wow, we stuffed up." You know.
So it was the goalkeeper switch that dictated a huge change in the play. But what was sort of dominating, I guess I won't say the headlines, but the talks after the game was Fernando. That was before the game, actually. Fernando in the first half. Classy performance.
He changed the game.
Yeah, and in the second half, I'm not saying he did badly at all, but because of the team's heads went down, man, I think there were 2 or 3 goals where Fernando was the last man worried about the counter-attack because the heads went down and they weren't getting set up again. That's all. That's all it was about, just setting up at the halfway again. And they weren't doing it because they were complacent and they were comfortable. So no knock on Fernando. I think his debut was phenomenal, honestly. And I think a lot of players played good.
How good was the celebration?
Man, the celebration was too good. To go into the crowd stuff.
He did, for you that don't know, he did the money shuffle sign to the crowd.
And it wasn't just him, it was the whole team. Billy Attic was getting involved doing it, even like the youngster Joey Toma was doing it. But talking about the crowd, who loved that celebration, by the way, they were... it's so funny. They go so high, like, in both directions. They're so excited by each goal, and then they're, like, livid, like, insanely livid when there's an opposition goal. Yeah. And, like, it does
very
make...
passionate fans.
Yeah, it does make for, like, an amazing situation when it happens. Like, we don't have any crowds like that. I don't know. We've packed our stadium plenty of times.
I think the last time the crowd was like that, I can remember Wolves Carlton game.
Yeah.
That was great. We had Zach and HD on the team, so we had a good backing by the Somalian community. That was super loud crowd, and the Wolves had the big Arab community, and that's the last time. So that's been a few years since we've seen a crowd like Balwyn.
Yeah. And they're not even like, I wouldn't actually say they're huge in numbers. They take over their little spot and they're just like they dominate, and it's good. But Delgado was loving it.
Yeah.
He was scoring goals. Man,
might bring him back. Yeah.
Yeah. He was thriving, and and he actually did need a little fire because he hasn't been that player. Because I remember in Brunswick he had a few games where
very good player.
People were starting to talk about
player,
him.
Yeah, just needs
great goal scorer. Yeah.
Right, well, let's touch on Delgado while we brought him up, and this has been the problem with Friendship, which we brought up, the consistency with players, with it, players not rocking up every week.
Yeah.
And Delgado is one of those. Can Friendship be a serious team? They have the quality. Can they be a seriously competitive team in that scenario?
Yeah, they can. I think with their full team, they can be, but they can't be if they're rotating. I mean, they lost Daniel Souza now, and now they don't have. Yeah,
he's gone. For those of you who don't know, I've heard from my barbecue sauce. He's gone.
And Habib was obviously great to have in that technical area on game day, and now they've lost Habib too. So I guess as it thins out, maybe the squad becomes more consistent, and maybe they listen to us and they listen to the podcast and change their ways.
That's right.
That's how it works.
Don't know. Hopefully they take some advice. I mean, who knows? Maybe we don't know what we're talking about. So
to just quickly touch on the crowd once more.